With the Super Bowl being a one-game decision to crown a champion, you won't believe some of the mistakes that cost teams a ring in the league's biggest moment. With the Seahawks going to the Super Bowl as the underdogs, they were looking to take down the Patriots, who were on pace to add yet another trophy to their case. Super Bowl 49 took place in 2015, and it was held at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Arizona. At the start, both teams were equally matched, and by halftime, the score was tied 14-14. Deep into the third quarter, the Seahawks secured a 10-point lead, but the Patriots rallied back to take a 28-24 lead with 2:02 left in the game. The Seahawks were led to the Patriots' 1-yard line in the clutch by Russell Wilson, who then had 26 seconds on the clock to win the game. The Seahawks had one of the best running backs in the game, Marshawn Lynch, and everyone in the world expected an easy gut-punching dive over the defensive line to win the game. But instead, the Seahawks decided to try and catch the Patriots off guard by throwing the ball. Wilson hiked the ball and decided to throw a quick slant to Tyler Lockett that was intercepted by undrafted rookie Malcolm Butler on the goal line, who in a matter of seconds became the NFL's most known quarterback. In the days after losing the Super Bowl, Russell Wilson spoke about the game-ending play, saying, "Super Bowl 49, I take full responsibility for it. I'm the one that threw the pass, but I know that I'll throw another. Hopefully I'll be remembered for something different. I think that's how I get better. Continue to wake up every morning with this passion, with this fire, not being satisfied with the wins that we've had before and the records and the Super Bowl that I won." And head coach Pete Carroll even spoke about this, saying, "You could run on second down, call timeout, have to throw in third to score, or incompletion and have to choose to run or pass on the final down. That's ball logic, not second-guess logic. You never think you'll throw an interception there, just as you don't think you'd fumble." Marshawn Lynch, who was the player who millions of NFL fans around the league expected to get the ball on that play, eventually spoke up, saying, "What certain individuals were thinking at the time is just not the situation that we needed to be in. Like, should I change it?" With Russell Wilson thinking, should I change the situation or I get it handled? I'm looking at it like, I've seen Russell do some stuff that hasn't been done before. At the end of the day, I'm not too concerned about if some stuff can't get done, because if there's anybody that can make some magic happen, it's this dude. Because I've seen him do it on my occasions before. The honest to God truth is, sometimes I think, do you think it should have been audible? At the end of the day, I'm not mad at him or who called the play. I'm gonna tell you like this. When the play was called and I saw expression on the other 10 guys' faces there, when they heard the call, they looked right at me. I'm looking like, break. What y'all want me to do? Between the years of 1991 and 1994, the Bills faced the Giants, Redskins, and the Cowboys twice, losing all 4 trips that they took to the Super Bowl. But Super Bowl 25 was the first of the 4 straight Bills appearances and was played at Tampa Stadium in Florida. With the Giants having a 20-19 lead with 8 seconds left in the game, it was all up to Scott Norwood, who was the kicker for the Bills at the time. He was tasked with kicking the longest field goal ever on grass, which was 47 yards to win the game. Giants players huddled up on the sideline on one knee and didn't even watch as Scott took the kick and sailed it wide right, losing the Super Bowl, which would end up becoming part of a superstition on why the Bills lost the next 3 straight Super Bowls. A teammate of Scott Norwood spoke about the kicker's ambition after the missed kick, and he explained he pulled his socks up after the kick after he missed, even though he didn't have to. The look on his face, he was lost. He got choked up both times I talked to him. It still affects him to this day. The part where he's really emotional is when he talks about the way Buffalo embraced him afterwards. And Jim Kelly, who was the quarterback during the Bills' Super Bowl losses, spoke about the first loss due to the missed field goal when he said, "It was wide right and we lost. It was a dream come true and then it wasn't. All of a sudden it was reality. It still stings when I hear you ask about it. That sting never really wears off. You have to move on though. We were able to do that as a team. We had resiliency and a never say die attitude. I learned a long time ago, before the Super Bowls and before Marv, that you never give up. Regardless of the situation, you turn a negative into a positive." Super Bowl 48 was already a very anticipated matchup, with it being the first time in Super Bowl history that the 2 head coaches of both teams were blood brothers. But on February 2nd of 2013, Super Bowl 48 was played in New Orleans and was between the 49ers and Ravens. The 2 brother coaches were Jim and John Harbaugh, who made this specific Super Bowl nickname the Har Bowl. And it was the first time in Super Bowl history where 2 teams were previously undefeated, with the Ravens being 1-0 in their history and the 49ers being a perfect 5-0 in the Super Bowl. The Ravens dominated the first half of the game, going into halftime with a 28-6 lead, when all of a sudden, everything in the stadium went black, and all 40,000 plus fans gasped as they tried to figure out what was happening. The power outage in the stadium lasted nearly 40 minutes, and it shocked every fan, team member, and everyone on TV who wasn't really sure what had happened. After the power outage was figured out, the Ravens' momentum was shut down, and the 49ers led a 17-0 comeback to cut the lead to 28-23. But it was too late, as the Ravens defense, led by Ray Lewis, were able to hold out the 49ers on their final drive. After the game, Ray Lewis went as far as saying that the power outage was intentional. He even said, "You cannot tell me someone wasn't sitting there, and when they say the Ravens are about to blow them out, man, we better do something." That's a huge shift in any game, in all seriousness. And as you see how huge it was because it lets them right back into the game, it really hurt us. We had a lot of momentum. We were rolling. That 35 or 40-minute wait, whatever it was, that hurt our momentum as far as what we were trying to do. But we came out on top, and that's all that matters. Hall of Famer Ed Reed even spoke about this, saying, "The bad part is, we started talking about it. Some of the guys were saying, they're trying to kill our momentum. It was like there's 2 teams on the field, but once we started talking about it, it happened. We talked it up." And a senior executive named Doug Thornton spoke about how the power outage was an issue that they'd been dealing with previously, and they were worried it would happen during the Super Bowl. In weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, Doug and his crew tested various amounts of power and other test runs in order to stop this from happening, but due to the amount of people and the energy in the building, it happened again. Doug said, "It was like somebody punching you in the gut, and even though it wasn't our fault, it became our problem. There were like headlines line, black eye for the city, black cloud for the Super Bowl. The whole thing bothered me for months. And many people in the stadium thought about the worst case scenario, including a terrorist attack or some sort of illegal activity happening, which sent many security guards and other cops in the stadium into a frenzy. With Sean Payton and the Saints pulling off a momentum swinging onside kick in the Super Bowl, it showed that not being prepared for everything could be a huge mistake. Super Bowl 44 was played at Sun Life Stadium at Miami Gardens between the Saints and the Colts, with Peyton Manning leading his team to a 10-0 start through the first quarter. The Saints were able to cut the deficit by making 2 field goals, which sent the Saints into the locker room at halftime down 10-6. During the halftime show, Coach Sean Payton decided to try and trick the special teams by doing an onside kick while still lined up in the regular kicking formation, so they didn't give any clues away. Coach Sean Payton said that they had that play drawn up for months, but they were just waiting for the right situation, as well as saying the halftime performance going longer than usual allowed them to get the plan down correctly that they called ambush. The Saints came out lined up in a normal formation when kicker Thomas Morstead kicked an onside kick, which bounced off the helmet of Hank Baskett and was recovered by the Saints. This crazy momentum flip charged the Saints up, and the Super Bowl MVP Drew Brees led the Saints to a 31-17 win, while tying Tom Brady's record for 32 completions made in a Super Bowl as this moment became cemented in history. But about the play, kicker Thomas Morstead said, "I wasn't too worried, just terrified," when he was asked about how he felt when Sean Payton told him that they were running ambush. Drew Brees also spoke about the gutsy onside call, but after the Saints recovered, he was fine with the decision, and he said, "We just felt like the momentum was on our side." On the other hand, Colts defensive end Dwight Freeney talked about how the onside kick changed the outcome of the game when he said, "I don't know if they caught us by surprise, but they got it, and it gave them some momentum they needed going into that second half." Hey yo dog, what are you doing with your life right now, bro? You need to click on this video on the screen. See this video right here? This is a life-changing video. It'll give you 20/20 vision. Trust me, bro. You just need to click on it, okay?